under the hard drives, you will then go to maintenance to determine whether or not you need to do an update, okay? So if you do, you choose upgrade, you choose the thumb drive. So when you download firmware from our, I'll give you the website. The website is T-E-C-H, I'll give it to you on a card,
Okay.
.hikvisionusa.com. Again, T-E-C-H.hikvisionusa.com. So when you log in, the website says, you'll have a tab that says download. You hit download, you hit firmware, and then from there you can choose if you're downloading firmware for an NVR, a DVR, a camera, an encoder, a decoder. You choose what it is, all right? You find a model number and you download the firmware. When you download the firmware, it's going to be a zip folder. So it's a zip folder. So let's say you have a thumb drive, you want to download that firmware, you want to get it, put it on your thumb drive. You take the folder and open it, and in the folder is a die-cap file. It says die-cap. You copy that die-cap file, go back to the root of the thumb drive, the root of it, and paste it, so that whenever you plug it in, it'll show up.
Okay.
Otherwise, some of our NVRs don't allow you to go search within the folders. It's not a full-blown operating system. So kind of like, you know, a computer where you can go into this folder, that folder, it may not allow you to. So it's best to put it on the root of the drive.
Okay.
Plug it in, you choose the file, and you do an upgrade. Takes all of a couple of minutes, it'll reboot, okay, great. Then you go back, once you've done the upgrade, you go back here to make sure it took the firmware update. So once it's taken the firmware update, you're good to go on the NVR. So once the maintenance is done, you've done the upgrade, all right? You must select the date and time. You got to do this.
Yeah.
Know this because I've come to sites where people forget. They overlook the minimal importance of time and date. Because if you don't do it and you go back and try to look at video on here, based on this, if you don't change this and make this right, you're going to go back and look at video that's not there. The end user is going to be like, well, I tried to go back and look at video from this date and this time. Well, guess what? You never changed it. So they're not going to see anything. So then when you do go back and correct it, when they do try, all the other stuff is going to be off. So again, best practices, you got to do that when you go to system configuration. Again, we did a maintenance, we're going to system configuration. You set the date, the time, etc., enable it, okay? So under display, you choose what display. You're going to do VGA, HDMI, or if you're going to do both. So for example, this NVR has both, HDMI and VGA. But for example, your VGA, you see how I have a 1280 by 1024. It's not 1080. So, but on HDMI, you can do a 1080p, all right? Or you could do a 720. It just depends on the monitor. So I've had an old plasma screen that I tried to do it on, and it was set for 1080. I couldn't see it. So I had to go in here in HDMI settings and drop this down to be 720. Okay. Once I did 720, came up on plasma because it was the older technology on the plasma. So
yeah, that I've had to do on a few monitors.
So once you've done that, again, here's if you're going to lock the actual display after so many minutes, meaning password lock. You can change this and make it every 2 minutes, 3 minutes to lock you out, or you can make it never. But the problem is people say, well, I'm tired of having to log in. If you leave it open, somebody can go do something to it. Somebody can make changes. You're not going to know who did it because it's never locked. So then you go to network. Again, here's what we talked about. You enter the static IP address, whatever the IP address is going to be. The internal NIC card is the internal NIC on the PoE switch built into the NVR. We don't use EasyViz. We have it here, just so you know, even though we have it and you can enable it, we have not completely finished all the programming for this to be applicable.
Okay.
So, will it work? Yes. Does it work now? Do we push it? No. So, of course, we do ask for you to do DDNS setup. So if you're gonna do the DDNS setup for a customer, and they want to view it with their computer, their phone, their tablet, whatever, it's free of charge. It's a free DDNS. You enable it, you choose a domain name, ABC company, okay, or XYZ company. You name it whatever you want. All right, once you've named it, you have to go to this website, HIK-online.com. Once you go there,
Where's it the type where you name it? You name it what?
right here, domain name,
Okay, you name it whatever you want. Okay.
whatever you want. It could be ABC company, it could be John Smith's house, it could be whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
All right. So just know, whatever you call it here, when you go to HIK-online.com, you're going to have to register if you don't have one already. All right. Basically, you put in all your information, create your username and password. Okay. Because if you do a lot of these, you just go there, log in, and say, okay, I want to add a domain. So when you add a domain, you say, okay, look, I'm going to add ABC company. All right, and it's going to be a whatever. Here's the domain name, and the username and password is going to be.
Is that HIK/online.com?
Yep.
Okay.
So when you register the name ABC company, after you've created your login there, you say, I want to add a domain. You add ABC company. You enter the name, username, and password. So if it's admin 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever it is, the password, you do that there. Now, it's registered. All right?
Do I need to create an account there, like personally?
Yes.
Okay.
So, your company may want to do that and say, hey, we're going to create a company-wide login so that we can manage all of them.
Okay. Perfect.
All right? That way everybody can say, okay, this is ABC company. Password, all the technicians know what it is. I got to register a new domain. And you have them all under your name, under your company. You follow me?
Mm-hmm.
So you can do it that way. But once you've created the domain, you've logged in and registered it, the domain. It may tell you, well, we already have that name. You may have to change it. I don't know. So once you've done that, you got to go open up the ports on the router.
Yeah.
So we don't I haven't given a training on port forwarding because there's too many manufacturers. Whether you're doing Comcast, AT&T, Infinity, whatever, I don't know who you have.
Yeah, it all depends.
And so you don't know which router, where it's at. But when you go into the router, or if you call Comcast, or you call AT&T, or you call whoever it is, if it's a home, residential, you call them and say, hey, I need to get into the router, I need these ports opened up. Okay, they'll say, okay, well, here's it is. They'll allow you to log into the router. Then you have to go in there into port configuration and open up these ports right here. Port 8000, port 80, and port 554. All right?
8000 is the one that gives that allows you to watch whatever the DVR to the thing, right? And the 80 is
the HTT port.
And the 554 is the streaming, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So you open up these ports, even if you don't use them, open them up. All right? Once you open up the ports on the router, then you can go to your tablet or your computer, whatever, and say, I want to add a device. You add in the domain name and you select DDNS connection. Don't select static IP. There's different ways of connecting to a server. You choose DDNS. You enter the domain name, ABC company. You put in the login, username, password, hit apply, you can now see the cameras. It's that quick. That simple.
Quick question. Can I open up the ports using a tablet, or does it have to be their computer?
If you can log into their
router,
then you can do it.
Okay. But most of the time, doesn't it need to be connected to the router?
You have to be on their Wi-Fi to connect to the router.
It could just be Wi-Fi?
You have to, yeah, so if I have my laptop and I'm at somebody's house, I'm on a Wi-Fi.
Okay.
Type in the IP address to the router, I'm in it, I change it.
Oh, perfect, okay. All this time I thought I had to have like the Ethernet cord connected.
Nope.
Oh,
Nope.
okay.
As long as you can log into the router. If they give you the IP